Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Our first story today is about betrayal in its purest form. A dedicated nanny, loyal for over 3 years, took 6 days off on her employer's insistence after suffering a miscarriage, only to be told she was no longer needed. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. We don't need you anymore, but can you still work tomorrow? I was a nanny for this family for a little over 3 years. 3 years of school runs, bedtime battles, emergency laundry, forgotten lunches, sick days, birthday parties, and every other small thing that parents never quite admit they rely on you for. The youngest is 6, and I've literally known him since he was still learning to tie his shoes. So when I started having a miscarriage, they insisted I take some time off. Their insistence, not mine. They said, please take the week, we'll handle things. I was devastated, physically and emotionally drained, but at least thought I didn't have to worry about my job for a few days. I took 6 days off. 6. One day before I was supposed to return, the mom sends me a message that basically said, since we've managed without you, we don't need you anymore, but can you still work tomorrow? After that, we're good. Also, we'd love to stay friends and still meet up sometime. I just stared at the message for a minute. Fired? For having a miscarriage? But not fired enough to skip squeezing one last day of childcare out of me? I went in because I'm professional even when other people aren't. I did the day, I picked up my things, I handed over their house keys, I said my polite goodbyes to the kids because none of this was their fault. I got in my car, exhaled, and started driving home. And then my phone started blowing up. Ping, ping, ping. Message after message from her. I'm upset too, you know. This is really hard on me. I thought we could still be close. You don't have to be so cold. You're really hurting my feelings. I hadn't responded at all. I blocked her. 5 minutes later, my husband texts me, why is she messaging me now? Oh, because when you fire someone in the middle of a devastating medical crisis, apparently they're supposed to comfort you? They're supposed to stay friends? They're supposed to accept your emotional labor demands? They're supposed to pretend you didn't just throw them away like an old jacket once you realized you could manage without them? Here's the thing. Nannies see everything. We know when you're overwhelmed. We know when you're lying. We know when your marriage is cracking at the edges. We know how your kids actually behave. We know exactly which parent is the stable one and which one is the chaos gremlin pretending they have it all under control. We also know when a family truly values us versus when they just value the service we provide. She absolutely thought firing me would come with no consequences. She thought I cared about her more than I cared about myself. She thought I'd still be on standby when childcare fell apart, which it absolutely will, because I was the one keeping that household functioning. But more than anything, she genuinely believed she could drop kick me during a miscarriage and I'd still jump to maintain the relationship. Sorry, honey, you don't get to discard someone at their lowest moment and then demand friendship, emotional support, or loyalty. You don't get to fire someone during a medical trauma you told them to take time off for and then act wounded when they walk away. You don't get to hire a nanny, treat her like disposable labor, and then pretend you're some kind of chosen family. And you definitely don't get to harass my husband after being blocked. New childcare? Not my problem. Your feelings? Also not my problem. Friendship? You fired that too. Blocked means blocked. It's wild how she fired you like she was tossing out an old toaster and then immediately demanded you reassure her afterward. She didn't lose a friend. She lost the person who kept her entire household glued together while she played mom with a Pinterest board. She fired the wrong one. Now she gets to experience life without training wheels. And our second story. My neighbor created her own HOA police, so I had the real cops arrest them and the state audit her straight into prison. I moved into this quiet-looking suburb in Oregon because I was tired of drama. My job already comes with enough of it. I'm a deputy U.S. marshal. Not the movie kind doing raids every day, but the analytical support flavor. I dig through data, help with warrants, track people and money, that sort of thing. I joke that I'm basically tech support with a badge. So, new house, dead-end street, trees, kids on bikes, people waving at each other. After years in loud apartments, it felt like heaven. For about 2 weeks. That's when I met Karen. You know that feeling when someone walks toward you and your brain just whispers, "Oh no." That was her. Big sunglasses, yoga pants, tiny dog, clipboard, the whole "I run this place" vibe. She stops in front of my driveway while I'm unloading boxes. "Hi, I'm Karen. I'm the head of the HOA," she says. I say, "Oh, nice to meet you. I didn't know the HOA had a head. I thought it was a board." She gives this tight little laugh. "Well, technically, sure, but everyone comes to me. I like to be involved." "Yeah, I bet you do." At first, it's small, annoying stuff, a note on my door about my trash can being visible from the street, a friendly reminder that my lawn is falling below community standards because I hadn't edged it yet, an email with approved front door colors if I ever want to repaint. I just keep replying, "Thanks, I'll take a look," and then absolutely not doing that. Then one Saturday morning at 7 a.m., someone tries to beat my front door off its hinges. I roll out of bed, still half asleep, thinking maybe there's a fire or something. I look through the peephole and almost laugh out loud. 2 people are on my porch in matching dark polos with huge white letters across the chest. HOA police. I'm not kidding. They got cheap-looking metal badges, tactical-ish boots, cargo pants, the whole Party City cop starter kit. I actually look around for a hidden camera. I crack the door. "Morning. What's going on?" The taller guy steps forward like he's about to deliver a monologue on law and order. "Sir, we're with the Maple Creek Estates HOA Police Department," he says. "We've received a complaint about suspicious equipment in your garage. We need to inspect the premises for code violations." I just stare at him. "I'm sorry," I said slowly. "The what police?" "HOA police," he repeats, tapping his fake badge. "Failure to comply can result in citations and legal action." Behind them down the sidewalk, I spot Karen, arms crossed, watching proudly like she just launched a new Marvel franchise. Here's the thing, impersonating law enforcement's a felony. That's not "oopsie, my bad," that's "you get your own mugshot." But I also don't want to whip out my badge and start yelling. I like evidence. I like people digging their own hole. So I play dumb. "Yeah, that's not happening," I say. "You're not coming into my house or garage." He frowns. "Sir, non-compliance can result in a $500 citation." "Perfect, mail it," I say. He tries to push forward a little. I just shift so I'm fully blocking the doorway. We're not touching, but I'm not moving either. The other one mutters, "Come on, man, it's just a routine inspection." I shrug. "Great, then you won't mind calling the actual sheriff's office to assist, because I'm real curious when they approved law enforcement powers for the HOA police." That lands. The tall guy's confidence flickers for a second. They step aside, whisper to each other, then shove a yellow paper at me. "Final warning," he says. "You have 48 hours to comply." It's a citation for obstruction of enforcement officer, complete with a QR code for payment. I scan it later. It links directly to a Venmo with Karen's name on it. Subtle. Over the next couple of weeks, I realized this isn't just a weird one-off cosplay thing. They're running a little protection racket. Old Mr. Jenkins across the street shows me a parking violation ticket because his truck's rear wheel touched his lawn. A young couple gets fined for having a kiddie pool in their front yard. Safety hazard. One woman gets threatened for hanging laundry on a line in her fenced backyard. Apparently, that's visual clutter. People are confused and scared, but nobody wants trouble. Karen walks around telling everyone, "Finally, we're enforcing the rules. Some people just don't like accountability." Then one night, there's a knock at my door. It's my neighbor Maria, single mom, nurse, works crazy hours. She looks stressed and on the verge of tears. "Hey, you okay?" I ask. "Those HOA police came today," she says, stepping in. "They tried to make me sign this. They said if I don't, I'll get fined for my fence." She hands me a piece of paper. It's a fake witness statement typed up with blanks for her signature. It says she has observed suspicious activity at my address, including possible storage of weapons and unknown visitors at late hours. I read it twice. "Did you sign this?" I ask. "No," she says. "I told them you help with my groceries and sometimes you leave early for work. That's it." Then Karen started yelling that I'm obstructing an investigation. That was my line. I explained to Maria calmly what impersonating law enforcement actually is. I tell her she's not in trouble, she did the right thing, and I'll handle it. She leaves looking a little less panicked. I sit down at my kitchen table, pull out a notepad, and flip the mental switch from tired neighbor to federal employee who knows how to write a memo that ruins your week. I start a timeline, dates, times, what they said, who they talked to. I pull doorbell camera footage. I ask neighbors for photos of the citations. I grab screenshots of the Venmo account and the HOA emails. I print out the actual HOA bylaws, highlight the parts where they do not have any enforcement arm whatsoever. Then I call our office lawyer. Every agency has that one lawyer who sounds permanently exhausted. Ours is named Denise. I like her. I lay it all out for her, the fake police, the tickets, the attempted fake witness statement, the Venmo, everything. She listens quietly and then sighs. HOA, she says. If the apocalypse comes, it'll be started by an HOA president. Okay, here's what you do. First, keep doing what you're doing. Document everything. Second, you're going to send 2 letters. 2, I ask? Yep, she says. Letter 1 to the county sheriff's office, Fraud and Impersonation Bureau. You'll ask for a formal investigation into impersonating law enforcement and extortion. Letter 2 to the state auditor's office, Special Investigations Unit. You'll request a financial audit of the HOA and attach all the evidence you have of suspicious payments and Venmo stuff. I'll send you templates. Keep it dry and factual. No rants. Got it, I say. Send me copies too, she says, so I can enjoy this. Fast forward a few days. The HOA police come back. This time it's the same 2 guys, plus a third who clearly went all in on the tactical fantasy. Karen's with them, standing back like a proud general. They knock. Not as hard this time, but with that confident open-up rhythm. I step outside and close the door behind me. Tall fake cop clears his throat. Sir, we're here with an administrative warrant to inspect your garage for safety violations. He holds up a piece of paper with a big red approved graphic and a fake seal. It looks like something you'd print on Canva at 2 a.m. Impressive, I say. You guys get these on Etsy or Amazon? Karen jumps in. This is serious, she snaps. We've had multiple reports. If you don't comply, we will escalate legally. Great, I say. Give me 1 second. I step back inside, grab my phone, and call the non-emergency number for the sheriff's office. Hi, I say. I live in Maple Creek Estates. There are people here in uniforms calling themselves HOA police, wearing badges, trying to search homes and extort money. I have video and documents. They're here right now. The dispatcher gets very interested very quickly. I go back outside and wait. Fake cop number 1 is still holding his warrant like it's holy scripture. Sir, if you don't open that garage, we'll be forced to... To what? I ask. Make another Canva document? He puffs up. Sir, this is your final... That's when the patrol car rolls into the cul-de-sac, lights off, calm, like a parent walking into a room where the kids are way too quiet. 2 deputies step out. The lead deputy looks at the scene. Morning, he says. Somebody want to tell me what's going on? Tall fake cop walks towards him like they're co-workers. Deputy, this is internal HOA business, he says. We're conducting a safety inspection. We have jurisdiction here. The deputy looks at his shirt. HOA police, he reads out loud. He looks over at me. You the one who called? Yep, I say. Homeowner and caller. They've been going door to door in these outfits, issuing fake tickets, trying to get into people's houses, taking money via Venmo. The deputy turns back to the fake cop. All right, I'm going to need to see some ID and any documentation you have authorizing you to act as law enforcement. Fake cop actually tries to fake talk into his radio. This is internal jurisdiction, he says. We answer to the HOA board, not the county. The deputy just stares at him for a second. Turn around and put your hands on the hood of the car, he says, calm but done. What? You can't. You're being detained while we figure out what this is, the deputy says. Hands on the hood. He complies, finally realizing the costume party is over. The third guy, he just panics. You can see the moment his brain goes, nope. He turns and straight up sprints down the street, full speed, past 3 houses, almost wiping out on the corner, leaves his little clipboard on my lawn. If it wasn't so serious, it would have been the funniest cardio I've seen in my life. Karen starts yelling, this is harassment. We're enforcing our rules. My aunt is a deputy to a very important politician. You're all going to regret this. The second deputy says, totally deadpan, ma'am, we do not care who your aunt is. They separate everyone, collect citations and warrants, take photos of the uniforms and badges, take statements from me and a couple of neighbors who came outside to watch the show. I finally show my own credentials, explain my job, and hand over the organized stack of evidence I've been building. One deputy looks at the Venmo screenshots and whistles. Whew. So the fines go straight to her personal account? Yep, I say. Very efficient system. After they haul fake cop number 1 off for further questioning and tell the other one not to leave town, things quiet down. The shirts disappear. No more faux patrols. Karen stops walking around with her clipboard. If she sees me, she suddenly finds the clouds very interesting. I finish the letters that Denise told me to write, one to the County Sheriff's Fraud and Impersonation Bureau, one to the State Auditor's Special Investigations Unit, timeline, copies of everything, videos on a thumb drive, all attached. Dry, factual, boring little government report tone. Then I wait. A few weeks later, I see them. White SUVs with state plates and a county sedan rolling up in front of the HOA clubhouse. No polos, no clipboards, suits, laptops, briefcases. People who are allergic to nonsense. They spend days going through records, talking to folks, doing what auditors do best, destroying your life with spreadsheets. Later, I'm asked to come in and answer questions. They already know a lot. They show me copies of HOA budgets, emails, meeting notes. I fill in the blanks. Turns out our HOA budget had a fun little section called Public Safety Initiative, $14,000, approved under vague language. Then there's a $600 tactical equipment expense, which, I kid you not, turned out to be a paintball helmet, vest, and some gear from a sporting goods store. The backup documentation's a photo of Karen in the paintball helmet holding a marker like she's auditioning for SWAT. They also find reimbursement checks to Karen for fuel for patrols, uniform expenses, training, plus all those fines neighbors paid, traced neatly to her personal accounts. In total, just over $30,000 they could prove was straight-up fraud. The county decides to charge her with fraud, theft by deception, and impersonating a public servant. Her fake cops get their own charges for impersonation and participation in the scheme. Her important aunt does exactly what you'd expect, issues a statement saying she hasn't been close to Karen in years, and then quietly resigns from her position for personal reasons. Sure. I go to the sentencing out of curiosity. Karen looks a lot smaller without sunglasses, makeup, and a clipboard army. Just another defendant in a cheap blazer. Her lawyer gives the speech you'd expect. She only wanted to improve safety. Things got out of hand. She misunderstood her authority. No prior record. Think of the stress, etc. The judge is not buying it. Miss Last Name, he says, this wasn't a misunderstanding. You created a fake police force, used it to intimidate your neighbors, and pocketed their money. You abused the trust and lied to them repeatedly. That is fraud, plain and simple. He lists the counts and amounts, then he gives her the sentence, 3 years in state prison, plus restitution to the HOA, plus probation after, plus she's barred from serving on any HOA board in the state. One of the fake officers gets probation and community service. The sprinter who took off down the street plea bargains his way into a lighter deal, probably still having nightmares about that run. The HOA police are officially dead. The HOA itself gets restructured, new board, open books, boring newsletters. They hire a real management company. Now the most exciting thing I get from them is pool closed on Tuesday for maintenance, which is exactly how I like it. The neighborhood calms down, people start acting normal again. Maria jokes that I arrested the HOA and brings me baked stuff way too often. I don't complain. Karen's old house gets sold. A quiet couple moves in with an overweight golden retriever who thinks my yard's his personal park. Again, I don't complain. I kept one souvenir, one of the original HOA police citations they gave me. I framed it and hung it in my garage. Right under it, in black marker, I wrote, "Case closed. Jurisdiction, reality." Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.